Anyway, can we get I had lots of feelings about that one. I will cut all of that out, and we're going to go back to talking about. Hi everybody, welcome to the show. Today is episode 136, and I am going to show you my most used math equation. It's called the rule of proportion, and I'm going to teach it to you. And so this is the beginner. I am not a math specialist in any way. This is just the one thing I learned that I use all the time, and it's very, very easy. And then you can look it up and learn more if you feel you need to, but it's very easy. So that's what we're going to talk about. I keep teasing you with a surprise dye project that I never do. So when I do it, I think it's going to actually be a surprise. Welcome to my knitting channel. Yeah, I have a headache, and these lights are hurting worse. I had my esophagus thing the day before yesterday, so I'm still recovering. And I started making bread, like yeast bread. And here's my thing. I love bread, I love desserts, I love baked goods. I love cake. Cake and bread are probably my favorite things. And then I love like crackers. I love anything just baked. Except for oatmeal. I hate oatmeal. Blah. Hate oatmeal. So I've also been trying to cut down on the amount of preservatives I eat. So I try to eat foods that are fresh, that aren't preserved, that don't have weird preservatives in them. Obviously, some preservatives are okay. I'm one of those people that I don't like when people call things chemicals, because oxygen is a chemical. Like everything is a chemical. So I hate the chemical. Also, my family is anti-vax and anti-science, and I'm not. So they always do my mom's big on chemicals, and I'm like, you don't know what any of that means at all. So anyway, issues. But I've because of my digestion issues, I've been wanting to eat cleaner, and since I eat a lot of baked goods, which I know are not good for the gut, I know they gum up stuff and whatever, they're delicious, and if I didn't eat them, I wouldn't eat anything at all half the time. But I do love a salad. Here's my thing. I love anything in a bread bowl. If you put salad in a bread bowl, put soup in a bread bowl, put bread in a bread bowl, I will eat it. I love it. Love bread. So I've been trying to make bread. I make sweetbreads, and by sweetbreads, I don't mean the gross sweetbreads. I don't mean what that has historically meant. I mean sweet tasting breads. Look that up. You will be horrified. It's terrible. But I make zucchini bread. I've been making my grandma's zucchini bread since I was a child. I absolutely love her zucchini bread. It's full of oil. It's not healthy at all, but it's delicious. You could also make with apples. You could probably make with anything. I hate bananas, so I don't like banana bread. But if you like banana bread, zucchini bread is similar to banana bread. And you think zucchini, ew, gross. I hate zucchinis, but in bread, if you use a processor and chop it up real fine, you won't even notice. But they make the bread really, really moist, and just put some fake butter, because I don't use, but I don't ingest dairy, so I do my coconut butter. Oh, so good. Anyway, fall time, do that. But I wanted to have bread that didn't have preservatives in it, that I could just make simple ingredients that I could make every day and just have fresh bread. And I also wanted something that would rise overnight, so I could mix it up at night and then bake it in the morning. And I'm on my second one, and it's better than it was yesterday. I think I need better flour. I think that's my problem. But it's been real fun, and it's delicious to have fresh bread. So anyway, if you have flour that you like for making bread, please let me know what it is. I'm making them in I got a little tiny tin. I watched this guy on YouTube from England, and it's a tiny tin. So you make a cube. It's this little 4-inch cube of bread. It's so adorable. Anyway, that's what I've been doing. Super fun, super annoying. The next, like, one I had to throw away because it like exploded and I couldn't get it back into a ball. And I didn't even know that could happen. And I'm like, how have the most uneducated women in history made bread and I can't make bread? It's so humbling to be like, what is wrong with me? I can't make bread. Anyway, do you bake? Do you love bread? Oh, I'm so excited to like make a good bread. So let's get into what I'm wearing. I am wearing one of my tops. This is a worsted knit top, cropped, so I'm not going to stand up. It's really hot in here. The yarn is Jupiter Moon Farms Neve, N-E-V-E, Neve. It is 100% cotton, and it is a chain ply. Chained. I forget the name of the color. I did not write that down, but the link is below. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. I have 2 finished objects for you today. I have 2 new whips. And yeah, and then we're going to talk about some math. So all of the landscapers have already been here. These guys came yesterday and this guy just left. So we should be good. So whips, let's start with whips. I used to have a table here that I don't anymore because it's squished in, so I can't pull it away from the wall anymore and set it out here, so everything's on the floor, and it's really inconvenient for me, if I'm honest. So my first whip, let me grab, I'm doing a new Sinead. By the way, Sinead's funeral was yesterday in Ireland, and I looked at the pictures, and oh my gosh, so many people. I cast on a new Sinead, and I have done the back piece, and surprise, it's purple. I was gonna surprise. I was gonna do the cotton turquoise, but then I found this Nuboo 100% lyocell in my stash. Remember, I was going to make something with this last year. It is a pain in the ass to work with. This color is Thistle. Oh, Thistle, Scotland. Anyway, so I had remembered that I had this and another kind in my stash from last summer, and I was like, oh, let's make that before we start, because the only reason I'm making the keeping with the cotton Sineads is so I can write the pattern, and I was like, I don't really want to write the pattern right now because it's fall, so I'm gonna take my time and get the pattern ready for spring. And then I was thinking I might do other sizes. So if you want to make one, why don't you send me a message on Instagram and let me know what your chest size is, and I'll get to grading the pattern for that. Because I was thinking I would just release it in my size, and then you guys can just do it to your own size, which is what I like to do. Like, I give my measurements, so like this back piece, I would give the measurements of my back and say it's this wide and this long, and then you measure your back and go, okay, I have to make this shorter, bigger, longer, whatever. Because that's what I have to do to every pattern I use. It never fits me. So I make stuff to fit me, and then I tell you what it's meant to fit, and then you can plug in your measurements and fix it to your thing. But I haven't decided if I want to make this like in sizes, because whoever fits the actual size, right? The Sinead, that is, what did I say this was? I don't even remember. That was like 2 hours ago. Nuboo 100% lyocell. I don't remember what lyocell is. It's made from plants. Leads the fiber industry in terms of energy and water conservation. Oh, approved by Knitted Knockers. There's actually a thing that says approved by Knitted Knockers. I didn't even know. This is how often I don't go to Joann's to buy yarn. I have 3 of these, and I have to tell you, one of them, I lost so much yarn. It was just in like they're just pulling strands out that weren't attached to anything. And then I had some knots. And I was like, what is this? So many that I got 55.05 and 19.04 out of 90. Both of the other balls were 90. One was 90 grams, one was 90.80. And this says 3 ounces, 85 grams. Oh, okay, so they were higher. Well, except for the one. I'm not even sure I'm going to have enough yardage. I'm going to leave this out, and we're going to work on the yardage for when I do the math. We'll see if I have enough to do this, because I didn't even check. Okay. We'll do that when we're doing our math later. We'll see if I even bother. This is the finished back piece. Totally finished. So it will stay on the needles here, and then the back pieces will be worked from here. See how much it stretches? Stretches all the way across my shoulders. And then the front top will come off this piece. This is, I feel like I'm really going to like wearing this because it's super, super soft and like velvety, like not sticky like velvet, but it's got a sheen too, like silk. It's very shiny. Really great stitch definition. The color's okay. It's a cool lavender, like a darkish lavender. But it's got a nice sheen to it. It's real pretty. Not mad at it. But I figured it would work well as a Sinead top, and I don't have anything else to use that yarn for anyway. Okay, let's do my other whip, and then I'm going to pause to take the dogs outside because we're at that time. My second whip is using Cascade 220 in burgundy. On the website they give you color names, and on the label they give you a color number, 9572. I think it's burgundy. Claret. What are those? I don't know. It's burgundy. It's a ready purple. Whatever. It's it's not red. It's not purple. It's ready purple. So this is just it's not the Ballerina Wrap top, but it is going to be a V-neck sweater. And I worked out the math. I took the cast on and the separation for the Ballerina Wrap top, and that's where I ended. I also went to On the Beach sweater that I had made before, and I had made the extra small size, and it was just a smidge too small, so I went up to their small size and played around with the math until I got what I wanted. So I'm joining at about 44 rows. I'm gonna separate sleeves, and I don't know when I'm gonna try then and see if that's when I want to join the whole thing, because I do like a deep V, so these can show through. Plus I wear a lot of necklaces, so I'd like a deeper V. So I think if I don't even know where that would be, but it would be fine for me to be that same, or to go lower. So I wrote the increases to all end at the same time on row 44, which is technically 45 because I started with a purl row. So hopefully that will be long enough for my armhole depth, because that's where I have problems. So we'll see what happens. It's slow going, because it just is, and I hate it. Sweaters always take forever, and they're not my favorite thing to do. I think if I had the payoff of having a sweater at the end, I would enjoy it a lot more, but I never get a sweater at the end. I always get an ill-fitting sweater at the end. And then I'm like, oh, that took me a month. With no payoff at all. This is terrible. Anyway, this will just be a short-sleeved thing. I was thinking, because I don't know how far 2 skeins are going to get me, because typically I think I use about 4, a little bit more than 4. I typically buy 5 for sweaters. For worsted sweaters, I buy 5 skeins. I have 5 skeins. So 2 skeins, not sure if I'm going to have the yardage to keep this up. I'm going to do it as much as possible, and then I might buy more. Because, like I said, I have a top in this, and the dye-lots look exactly the same. So I know there technically are dye-lots, but I'm not sure it would do anything. So, and then I was thinking, well, you could always do like some sort of, I was thinking of maybe doing some sort of pattern on the bottom, like maybe a mosaic pattern along the bottom, and then, I mean, I would still need more, because 2 is not going to be enough for sleeves. So I don't know what I'm doing, but I could just leave it short sleeved and then wear it like under a cardigan, which was my plan anyway, so I might just do that. Okay. So those are my 2 whips. Hawaii is on fire. That's what's happening today in the news. It's terrifying. Okay. Finished objects. So this week I finished my mint Sinead. It looks really short, doesn't it? So I did 80 rounds from the join the cross. Okay, join these. This is the arm join. And then you work like 30 rounds, and then you cross for the bust. And then I did 80 rounds. Now I did 100 on the last one, and it was too long. This one I feel is just a smidge too short, and look at this. I made a mistake. Can you see it? Ugh. I see it. I can see it. Where'd it go? Oh, it's on this side. It's right here. I purled a net, and then I didn't notice until after it blocked. I usually check, but I didn't check. And I'm so mad. But I might be I'm not sure how much I want to add on, because it actually fits fine. And it comes way past my hip bones, so I don't know what my problem is at all. But it does look cropped, and it's really not. It's really not. I have not cut the ends. You know, I wear it for a little bit before I cut the ends. And I do that because sometimes it's usually too short, and I have to add on to it. So I don't cut my ends until I've worn it and I know if I have to add length to it or not, because otherwise that's a waste of like 3 inches. I don't know what my problem is, but it's finished. Finished. The other thing I finished is the DK knit top. This is the leftovers of the mint and the gray that I then striped. This just does not want to be shown to you very well. And I took measurements of how much weight I used so I can do this for the other colors, but I haven't started any of the other colors, so I don't have any more of these to make. I do have some leftover yarn from the Sineads, and one cropped of both colors, and then this striped of both colors. I have about 20 more grams of the mint because I did 20 rounds less in the body. So I'm not sure if I'm going to make another one of these. I don't think I can do it in this, but I could do it a different way. I might have enough for the ribbing to be gray, but probably not stripe. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. But I ended up, I told you that I made this where my cast on row was the same color as the straps, because you start with the straps. You start with the straps, and then you make these two triangles, and then you knit them together. And then you sew the straps onto the back. And I wanted that cohesiveness. I don't know why, I just did. So that meant when I came around here to do, because I did 2 row straps, two row stripes, 2 row stripes. And what I did when I got down here is I did the first round of ribbing, I just did knit in that color. So the ribbing started on the second round. But then I still counted only 30 rounds. So there's actually 29 rounds of ribbing and one round of knit, just so it would be a more seamless. So I had to add on 2 extra rounds in this part of it, which I was like, I should probably do that in all of them because I really like the fit of this one. So maybe those 2 extra rounds gave me a bit more room that I really liked. So I'm going to update my patterns to account for 2 more rows there. But that was because otherwise I would have had 2 rows of green or 2 rows of gray and then to start the ribbing, and I didn't want that big of a thing. So I just added another 2 rounds to make it how I wanted it. I like it. I like the way this one fits. I think this yarn would make a great full-length top. I really think it would make a great full-length top. It does pill a little bit, but I think that happens with all the cottons, and I don't think I'm not seeing any like pilling between the 2 is pretty much the same. And this is done in a 3.5, and this is done on a 4, and then this is done on a 3.25. So there's 3 different needles used on the same yarn. And it all works. So you can see the difference of this ribbing is used with a 3.25 and this is used with a 4. So you see this is more open than this. And that's because this is a secondary top. I'm always wearing something underneath, so I don't mind that it has a little bit more, space than this. You can see this is more. You can totally see through that more than this. This is tighter. And both of them work. So there's This is why I say what I do about gauge, that I feel like it's that line, and whose line is it anywhere? The rules are made up. I feel like that about gauge. Gauge is made up, and it doesn't matter anyway. It matters to a point, and then it doesn't matter. But that difference in gauge is going to give you stuff like, it's going to mess with stretch, it's going to mess with yardage, it's going to mess with the warmth, how warm a thing is, probably how the yarn is going to wear. Typically a looser weave will pill more because there's more movement, and a tighter weave will pill less because there's less movement, and all that. So yeah, those are my finished objects. I'm going to start with, this is called the rule of proportion, if you want to look it up. This is a very, very watered and dumbed down version of this math. And I don't know a lot of math. And math was not something that I understood in school. It was not something that my teachers made accessible to me. And what I mean is, I am a victim of the public school systems in America. It's not hard. And I'm going to start with something very, very easy for you, okay? Something that you're going to understand. I'm going to show you 100 grams. 100 grams. And I'm going to show you 220 yards. What is this? This is your typical worsted weight yarn. 100 grams gives you 220 yards. That's pretty standard, right? So let's do this. Since I have, let's say we want to figure out the yardage to my Sinead, okay? The gray one, because I don't have a weight on the mint one because I didn't weigh it. But, so you need one of these things. So you have grams and yards. This is a per. 100 grams per 220. So this is what's going to help you figure out the yardage you used or the yardage you need. Okay? You can do either way. So first we're going to say that my first one weighed 180 grams. And I need my calculator for this. The stuff I used was I just picked the worsted weight to show you, but I think that yarn was actually 230. Universal Yarn Cotton Supreme DK 231 yards. Okay, so let's change this to 231. We're going to do this all again. 231 yards. And what did I say? 180 grams. So let's do 180 times 231. So crossing, right? We're going to $180. That's how many grams my total top, gray top, weighed 180 grams. That's how much I used. Times 231 yards, which is how much per skein. This gives us 41,580. So then we're going to divide by 100, right? Cross multiply and then divide. It's easy because you multiply the two that there are, and then you divide by the one that's not, doesn't have a mate. So 415.80. So do we want to check out? Here's my Nuboo that we're trying to make one with, right? So let's see what the yardage of this is we're going to have to add up all of my yardage, because remember, not all of the, well, first of all, I got 90 grams. So here's my total Nuboo. 90.8, 90, 55.05, and 19.04, which I didn't even bother with the 19 one. I didn't even bother with it. So let's add these. 90.8 plus 90 plus 55.05 plus 19.04. Total, this is grams, 254.89 grams. Total grams is 254.89. Okay, so let's figure out if the Nuboo is 85 grams, 157 yards, and we need, no, this is yards, 415.8. Yeah, that's what we're going for. Okay, so my total, hold on, what am I doing here? Oh, I'm figuring out how many yards I have. So because I don't have 3, I can't just take 157 times 3 because I don't have 3. 2 of them are 90. And then I have 55 and 19. So I have total, I don't have 3. That's weird, because it should be 3 times 85. This is why it's important to weigh your skeins, because none of my skeins were 85. So my total is 254.89. So we'll find our total yard. This is the total yardage of the Nuboo that I have here. And we need 415.8 yards. So let's see what we have. We're going to do 254.89 times 157. Okay. Oh my God, are you freaking out? I'm freaking out. 254.89 times 157 is 40,000. We're not gonna have enough. 17. Oh wait, we're dividing by 85. We might have enough. I was dividing by 100 and I'm like, we're not gonna have enough. Now remember, we need 415.84. I'll put right here. 415.84. This is what we need. 415.84 divided by 85. Guys, we have 470.7968. Okay, so this is 47.80, let's say. That is a surplus of 415.84. We are plus 54.5.96. Okay, I thought we weren't going to have enough. Okay, so should we 54. So I won't even get a top out of it because my tops need 60, but I guess I could just do it less ribbing. It would have maybe 6 rounds less of ribbing. We'll see what I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe. Actually, that one might. I don't know that I would do that one. Yeah, this calls for 4.5 millimeter, and I'm using a 4, so I might actually make this a worsted weight knit top, and then 54 would be fine because I typically use 50 grams for the worsted weight tops. Okay. Oh, It was a roller coaster. One way that the rule of proportion will help you is if you're weighing and you want to do something like that. See if you have enough yardage to make something. You can do that. Another way is, let's say we have 20 stitches and 30 rows equals, let's do 10 centimeters. I'm going to do centimeters instead of inches. Because again, you can have a 10 or you can have a 4. Which is easier to math? A 10. A 10 is easier to math than a 4. You can do inches if you want. So let's say this is the gauge for my sweater. It is! Oh, surprise! This is the gauge for my sweater. So let's figure out how many stitches I'm going to need to cover. Let's do 0. We'll do 0 ease. So let's say 20 stitches is 10 centimeters, and my chest is 35 inches, so that's 89 centimeters. So this is stitches and centimeters. So your centimeters is going to go right next to the centimeter, okay? So this is my, so first we're going to do 20 stitches times 89 centimeters. This is really helpful if you're looking at the gauge of a sweater, and if you can find the chest measurement, how many stitches, then you can switch. If it's not in your size, let's say you're seeing this and it has like a 36 inch, when 1 inch isn't a big difference. But what if your size is not on there? What if you're a 28 inch bust and it stops at 32? That's, what, 12, that's 5 inches, 4 inches away, 28 to 32, 8 to 2, 8 to 12, that's 4. So that's 4 inches. What if you don't want 4 inches of ease? What are we doing here? Okay, we are trying to see how many stitches I need for my size of 89. So 20 by, what are we doing? 20 times 89 gives us 1780. My pen is drying out. Then we're going to divide by 10. Oh, that's easy. Which is 178. Right? Divided by 10, knock 1 out. 178. So we would need 178 stitches. 178 stitches for 0 ease of a 35 inch, 89 centimeter bust. This is also helpful if you're not getting gauge. So let's say I'm not matching the gauge, but I know that for this, either way, I mean, you could do, if you know your chest size that you want to make for, and you can just plug in your chest size with whatever your gauge is. Like, let's say that I have, here we go, 89 centimeters. I always start with the thing I want. So the thing I want here is 89 centimeters, right? And here's my 10 centimeters, because this is my gauge swatch. And let's say stitches. So let's say, what's my gauge? Let's say it's 16 stitches. So for 20 stitches, we need 178 stitches for an 89 centimeters. So let's say my gauge is 16. Now, you have to take in mind that this is also going to mess with your row count. If your stitch count is this much off, your row count's probably off too. But other stuff it won't matter, but some stuff it will. But I'm just going to give you this is how you can change. It'll give you another idea. So let's say 16 by 89. is 1424, and we're going to divide that by 10, which means 142.4. Okay, so we go from 176 or 178 to 142. So that's helpful if you want to scale down something, or if maybe you're, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something where stitch count would matter, but row count wouldn't. It's going to matter on a sweater. It's going to matter on a top, because you still have that row count, right? And you have to make strategic increases. But if you're making something like a tube top, that's a good one. If you're making a tube top and you just need it to go around you, you'd probably want some negative ease in that, maybe 10% negative ease. So if they only go down or up to and you're a size or two off, or your stitch count's off, if the rows didn't matter, because then it's probably going to say, if it's something easy like a cowl or something like that, that's just going to be up and down like a tube. All I can think of is a tube top. But that doesn't have to be the entire pattern. Like I said, sometimes I will do it extra small and then grade up the pattern around my chest to account for my, I'm not saying my chest is huge, but in the ratio to the rest of my body, my bust is bigger. So it doesn't always account for the difference. So you could start, a lot of times I'll make everything in the smallest size and then go up to the second or third size just for the chest. So I'll increase for that size. Do you know what I mean? You increase to that size. So not the sleeves, but let's say we're making top down. I would increase the front, not the back. The front, not the sleeves. So the back and the sleeves I would do as the extra small. But then this front, whatever this number is, I would go up to a size small or medium depending on what this number is, what the stitch count that I want for zero ease or positive ease or whatever. Like, because a lot of times the extra small will give like a 30-inch bust. I don't have a 30-inch bust, I have a 35-inch bust. So that's 5 extra inches that I have to work into this pattern. But if I want it to fit me everywhere else, I need that smaller size. So very helpful if you do not fit into the normie, the way sizes are currently graded. Also great if you work, if you want to know your yardage or you weigh your stuff. Also helpful if you want to know how much yarn you use for socks, or how much yardage you use. Like I do it a lot for when I make my tops, when I make these tops, and I want to change. A lot of times the yardage is what tells me if I'm going to make it in as a worsted or a DK version, depending on the yardage. Because sometimes not every yarn has the same, not every weight of yarn has the same yardage. It varies by fiber content. It's not only the thickness of the yarn, it's also the ply of the yarn, the spin of the yarn. So if it's in the chainette style that we have now, those vary wildly. Those typically have very long yardages, but the yarn is the thickness, because typically the more yardage, the thinner the yarn, and that's not always what's actually happening, especially with the chainettes. I find the chainettes to be the same thickness and then wildly just extra yardage, which is super fun. Like, why do I have all this extra yardage? Every time I have chainette, I will always prefer a chainette, the chainette ply over a worsted, because you get so much more yardage for your money, and you could still make your normal things, and you have more yardage to work with. It's my absolute favorite just for that reason. And I think it pills less, because it's like you're knitting with an I-cord almost, so less pilling because there's less movement in the plies. Anyway, wildly over time. I hope that was helpful. That's the most I use it for, is for working out gauge and what size a lot of times I'll look up. That's how I'm able to change inside of a size. And I use it a lot when I'm weighing stuff, when I'm weighing my yard, seeing how much yardage I have, how much I've used, how much, I have left over. Sometimes the weight is enough, and if you're going in between yarns, then you're gonna have to check out. You're gonna have to solve for the yardage and see if the yardage is the same. If the yardage is the same, you're usually safe. I'm excited. The Nuboo. I'm excited. The Nuboo. I was worried. I was worried there that we weren't gonna have enough. Just enough. What, extra 55? I think extra 55. Pretty cool. I hope I did all that right. I'm going to have to watch it. And if I did that completely wrong, I don't know what this episode's going to be about, because I already messed it up once. Anyway, if you have questions about this math, don't ask me, because I don't know more than what I've told you. In fact, one of my friends taught me this, and I use it for everything that I can use it for. It's very helpful. It's just a ratio, proportion. Yeah, it's a ratio that is the same for both. If you have questions, look up rule of proportion. Just Google it. I'm sure there are some math professors on YouTube that will explain it to you better than I can, but I gave it to you specifically for knitting, and I hope that helps you. Okay, that is all the knitting content I have. It's 800 degrees out here, and I want to go inside. I don't have a topic for next week. Just like I didn't have a topic for this week. I don't know what I'm going to call it. Something math, and no one's going to want to watch it. Anyway, I hope that helps you. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope it wasn't too confusing, but there are some math professors that could give you more than I can. But yeah. I don't have anything else to tell you, and it's really hot. I want to go inside. So I'm going to see you next week. Take care. Bye.